I'm going to try and show how people do pipe jointing in this video. So this is before and after. This isn't quite finished. There's still a bit of lining up of the corners to do, but we're not going to worry about that in this. So this is a column, and as you can see, it's well, you just got to compare them. It's the same column, and this is with pipe joints, and this is just a recess joint. So this, if the joint was out a bit further, this would be nicer, but I purposely left this back a little. And what I've done here, and this mightn't be the standard method, but anyway, I used a mixture of coarse sand and white cement, so a dry mix, and you'll see in my other video what a dry mix is. And I filled that in with first of all, I wet this down. Like, I wet it down and pretty heavily, and then you wait for the stones to dry. And what happens is there's still moisture in the joints of the stones. So the first thing to dry is the outsides, and the reason for that is because you've got to be very, very careful with water when you are doing jointing, especially on granite. Granite, you could it's very easy to stain granite with cement. So basically what I've used is so I left it like this, then I used dry mix of white cement, filled in the joints on the same day, and then I did the pipes. So you fill in the joints, then you do your piping, and when you scratch away, like I'll show you later in the video, you scratch away the edge pieces, and what happens is when you first put the piping joint mixture on, it's a strong mix. It can be 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 with usually something like half masonry cement, or sorry, let's see, how would I put it? Say 4 parts sand, 1 part masonry cement, 1 part of just normal cement, type 10 cement here. So you make a putty and you put in, I usually put in with a piping bag. So I put the mixture along the joints, and as soon as it's ready, which can be, depending on a hot day, it can be within a minute, or it can be half an hour, just depending on the weather, you start using your pipe jointer to shape it. And then when the excess dries off, you cut it off with a slicker or the small trowel. Anyway, I shall show you. Anyway, most people consider this to be way nicer than that, and I am just going to see, what do I do here? I'm going to click this down, and I'm going to start playing the little movie. So here we go. What am I doing? Play it.
Here's the materials list for your pipe jointing. You need your pipe jointing tools. You can use a flicker, and the things I prefer to use are my old trowel, my old small trowel, this guy here, this guy, and the bag, the masonry bag. So with the masonry bag, you make your pipe jointing mix into a putty and squeeze it through. If it doesn't squeeze through, you make it a bit wetter or a little bit stronger until it does squeeze through. And this, if it doesn't squeeze, if it's a bit small, you just make it a bit, make it bigger. Anyway, I cut it at an angle like this too, because it ends up working a bit like, if you've never done it before, if you've ever done kind of like welding, or like almost like welding when you're putting that stuff on. And anyway, that's the materials, that's the tools that you need. Thank you. want to show you the principle of pipe jointing. So here's some water, here's some soil, and I'm not going to do this at work because it's really hard showing this and holding the camera at the same time. Anyway, my jointers are just curved beams, copper pipe. This is from a barbecue, and I made one for a friend of mine from an old hacksaw frame. I just put it on the handle, and apparently that was the best one that I ever used. And anyway, lots of ways to make it. How am I going to do this? Hold this in there. Okay, so this would be the consistency of your. I'm only doing a lay here just to show you the material. And okay, so you just run along it. It's pretty important to wet down the. This is not going to work that good
To
like this.
wet down
So
the jointer.
what I might do. Oh, there we go. That's not very good. But I did one over here too. I think that might be better. This one is set up a bit.
See the water there? That's what you have to be careful of. This isn't to drip onto your granite.
And that's the type of surface you get with the pipe jointing. I'm going to try
Oh, excuse me.
the other one. See, there's a smaller one. And usually the pipe jointers, commercial ones, have two different sizes. But because I got this guy too, I got, well, I got one.
Sometimes a big joint, a big wide one like that, will look better than a
So it's
small
not
one.
that I used recently.
This depends on your wall.
So then after a time period, which might be
When you do this on a
5
wall,
minutes or 20
it
minutes
dries
or longer,
quite quickly sometimes, so you've
could
got to
be,
watch it.
it will dry
And
up
when you cut it off like that,
instead. You just
you
curve
go
it
down into the dry
pieces underneath.
white cement mix underneath,
That's what you put.
and you'll be surprised how
So
clean it
it's
looks. Excuse me.
and that's it. Like sometimes you can come over it again, but I don't really advise it. It's oh yeah, I'll show you how to join pipe because this isn't something that like you see lots of them and they're not joined. Okay, I've got to run over this.
It looks a bit silly when they're not joined.
I should be able to join them. You might have to add some of the other material. This is tight. Okay. That's not really good. Just a different
I had the mix
consistency.
just too wet.
Not having
When you're
any
doing it on a wall, it dries
get
quite
going.
a deal quicker,
You see this little motion like this?
which you can't.
Yeah, this piece is still good. You just got to continue like that, and now you got your pipe joint. One more, and you use a strong mix in pipe joints. So like you never get this wet.
Your strong mix might be something like 2 to 1
Not quite dry enough.
sand to cement, or even 1 to 1 sand to cement. So
Could be
very
very
strong mix.
great too for any of you cob people making cob houses. So I'm going to stop it at that. There's your pipe, and not quite perfect.
So anyway, you might think it's absolutely daft to do this in mud, but if you're a novice, you need the practice, and you also need to, if you're making your own pipe jointer, you're going to need you might have to tweak it a little, like you might do a slight curve. See here, I left them, I'm not sure why I left them straight across, but you could do a little curve this way and on the other side. The commercial ones I don't think have the curve, but I think if you do the little curve, you'll be able to do a nicer join here, and that really separates good work from bad work with pipe joints, is joining up things nicely. Now if we go back to the before and after picture, um, see here, my white cement, you really have to look at it to see this line here. It basically makes it disappear, and you got to be a little careful with masonry cement because it's got lime in it. It can stain quite a bit, but you could use a mixed. It's hard with cement to know beforehand what color this stuff is going to be. But white cement is pure cement, so you're going to be pretty sure it's going to be white. And if you use coarse sand, it can even look, when you scratch off at the sides like this, it looks very similar to granite. So the two reasons for me laying down the white cement as a base on the same day, within maybe an hour beforehand, is any drips will go hopefully onto that white cement, and then when the thing dries, you're cutting a little of the white cement out, so you'll get virtually no stains on your granite when you're done. And anyway, that's the idea of that. Like this one still isn't finished, but with regards to the joints, it's finished. Yeah, up here I could have done the same thing. Probably should have left this little joint here as just white cement backing, and it would look like a more decent sized rock. And that's just one of the things you can consider doing. Like, you don't have to do every little joint. There's another one here. See this one here? And excuse me, uh, if I had done that in grey cement, like I guess people normally would, you would see much more of an outline around the stones. So that's the idea of color matching with your base for your pipe joints, because you can't really be sure of color with these things. Like, there's different brands, and it takes them maybe it can be 4 or 5 days before you know what color these things are going to be. So on granite, this is salt and pepper. This was all busted out from from one of these rock quarry places. So it wasn't by any means perfect rock, but ends up looking not too bad. I'm going to stop it there, and I hope it helps you if you're a novice and you want to do pipe jointing. And definitely don't be afraid of messing in the mud before you do it, because it'll give you some confidence and a feel for the material. Thank you. Bye now.